Here we go. Rolling, everybody. Shush. Take two, please.
It's a new day for Celine Dion.
Hello, Vogue. This is Celine Dion.
The superstar singer gracing the May issue of Vogue France, sharing details about her rare and incurable neurological disorder.
At the height of her fame, Celine Dion became a household name, not only for her powerhouse voice, but for her strength and resilience. She took on the world, hitting notes only she could reach, and making fans feel every word she sang. Her songs like My Heart Will Go On and The Power of Love became anthems for millions. Yet behind her iconic performances, Celine has faced her own battles. Now at 56, she's opened up about a rare condition that changed everything: stiff person syndrome. So, what's this journey been like for her? And how has it impacted her life? Join us as we uncover her battle with stiff person syndrome and the personal struggles behind the powerful voice. The humble beginnings of Celine Dion. Celine Dion, born on March 30th, 1968 in Charlemagne, Quebec, was the youngest of 14 children. Her parents, Thérèse, a homemaker, and Adimar, a butcher, were both of French descent. Life wasn't glamorous for young Celine. Growing up in a large family meant sharing nearly everything. As a baby, she even slept in a drawer instead of a crib to save space. Money was tight, so hand-me-downs were the norm, and Celine often shared a bed with her sisters. Despite these hardships, she remembers her childhood home as a place filled with love, laughter, and music. Music was everywhere in the Dion household. Celine was actually named after a song, Celine, sung by the French artist Hugues Aufray. When she was just 5, Celine took to the stage for the first time at her brother Michel's wedding, singing a French tune, Du fil, de l'aiguille et du coton. This moment foreshadowed the journey ahead. As a child, Celine dreamed of being a singer and would often run home from school to play music in the family's basement with her siblings. Though school wasn't her favorite place, she felt real life was with her family. "I detested school," she would later write in her autobiography, explaining how she always felt older beyond her years due to being surrounded by her family's influence. Celine faced her share of struggles growing up. She was teased in school for her skinny frame and teeth, with some kids even calling her vampire. Local tabloids reportedly referred to her as Canine Dion due to her appearance. However, these experiences never deterred her from pursuing her dream. Her passion for music kept her grounded, and her family's support gave her the confidence she needed. One scary incident occurred when Celine was 5, as she was struck by a car while her father and brother watched. She was hospitalized briefly with a concussion, yet she bounced back, determined to chase her dream, finding her voice and becoming a star. By the age of 12, Celine knew she wanted to make her mark on the music world. Alongside her mother and brother Jacques, she wrote and recorded her first song, Ce n'était qu'un rêve. It was only a dream. Her family was determined to help her succeed, so her brother Michel sent the recording to René Angély, a music manager he found through the credits of an album by singer Jeanette Reno. René was deeply moved by her voice, reportedly brought to tears, and decided to do whatever it took to make Celine a star. To fund her first album, La Voix du Bon Dieu, The Voice of God, Angély took a huge risk and mortgaged his home. The gamble paid off. Celine became an overnight sensation in Quebec, her powerful voice capturing hearts and propelling her to fame. Her big break on the international stage came in 1982, when she won the Yamaha World Popular Song Festival in Tokyo, claiming both the Top Performer and Best Song awards. In 1983, she became the first Canadian artist to win a gold record in France with her song D'amour ou d'amitié, of love or friendship. She won multiple Felix Awards, including Best Female Performer and Discovery of the Year. At 18, Celine had a career-changing moment after seeing a Michael Jackson concert. Inspired by his charisma and presence, she told René she wanted to become a global star like him. But René realized there was more work to do. Celine's powerful voice was undeniable, but her image needed refinement to capture the international market. She temporarily stepped back from the public eye, undergoing dental surgery to polish her smile, and enrolling in the École Berlitz to improve her English. In 1988, Celine represented Switzerland in the Eurovision Song Contest with Ne partez pas sans moi, ultimately winning by a slim margin. This victory brought her worldwide attention and established her as a global talent. As she transitioned into the English-speaking market, her debut album, Unison, was released in 1990. making her a pop sensation across North America. Her follow-up albums, Falling Into You, 1996, and Let's Talk About Love, 1997, cemented her legacy, with both reaching diamond certification in the United States. With her rise to fame came unforgettable hits like The Power of Love, It's All Coming Back to Me Now, and most famously, My Heart Will Go On from the movie Titanic. Celine Dion has become a worldwide phenomenon, her powerful voice and emotional ballads touching fans across the globe. But that doesn't mean life was always kind to her. The harsh realities of fame. Celine Dion's voice has a way of capturing raw emotion. Her fans can hear both strength and pain in her songs, and sadly that pain is something she's lived through personally. Despite all her success, Celine faced challenges from a young age. Growing up in a large, modest household, she was no stranger to bullying, especially during her early years. She admitted she was definitely not very good at school and never felt cool. The kids around her often mocked her crooked teeth and her hand-me-down clothes and even gave her mean nicknames. Local magazines weren't much kinder. Some tabloids allegedly used the nickname Canine Dion, which contributed to her feelings of self-consciousness. Even when she began achieving fame in Quebec, the ridicule over her appearance didn't stop. To avoid the constant focus on her teeth, she developed a habit of tilting her head and holding her microphone in front of her mouth while performing. For a while, this mask helped her cope with the spotlight, but the hurtful attention still weighed on her. Yet, through all this, Celine kept singing. Her voice became her shield, and soon enough her talent became impossible for anyone to ignore. She continued to shine despite the world's harsh judgment, determined to prove her worth and rise above the negativity. But did you know that? She struggled to build a family. The family has always been at the core of who Celine is. Growing up with 13 siblings, she dreamed of creating a family just as big and full of love. Motherhood was something she valued even more than music, saying once, "I'm not really a singer. My life is to be a mom." She didn't want to take any risks with her family the way she might with her career. But when it came to starting a family with her husband, René Angelil, things weren't easy. After trying to conceive naturally for 6 years, they decided to go with in vitro fertilization, IVF. This brought their miracle child, René Charles, into the world in 2001, a moment that Celine treasured deeply. However, Celine and René's path to more children was difficult and heartbreaking. They tried IVF multiple times and experienced a miscarriage before Celine became pregnant with twins in 2010. It was a bittersweet journey that finally brought her sons Eddie and Nelson into her life, giving her the family she had always dreamed of. But tragedy soon struck. In 2016, René, her husband and longtime supporter, passed away after a long battle with cancer. He had been her manager, her friend, and her life partner. And now, raising her twin sons alone, Celine found herself navigating a new and painful chapter of life, forever changed but determined to keep going. Speaking of which, Celine's career has not only been marked by success but also by health battles that nearly took her voice away. Battles with health and loss. In 2012, she faced a serious challenge when her vocal cords weakened. After struggling to sing during a sound check, she sought help from a top specialist, who told her that she needed to rest her voice for several weeks. The news led to several show cancellations, a decision that was heartbreaking for someone as dedicated to her fans as Celine. Despite these struggles, she remained resilient, following all medical advice and eventually returning to the stage, her voice just as powerful as ever. Her health issues didn't end there. In 2018, Celine's team shared that she was dealing with a rare ear condition called patulous eustachian tube. This disorder made it hard for her to hear properly, which in turn affected her ability to sing. She tried various medications, but nothing worked long-term, forcing her to undergo surgery. Once again, she had to postpone her Las Vegas shows and focus on recovery. She knew that her fans missed her, and Celine was just as eager to return. But this time, she was also more aware of her own limits, recognizing the importance of rest and healing. Alongside her personal health battles, Celine faced heartbreaking losses in her family. In 2003, her father, Adamar, passed away after battling cancer. Celine, who was on her Las Vegas residency, rushed home to be with her family, deeply mourning her father's loss. She told Larry King in 2004, "Even though you expect it, you can never be prepared for it." Years later, in 2020, she faced yet another loss when her mother, Therese, passed away at age 92 after a long period of declining health. Celine, always open with her fans, shared the news during a concert in Miami. Her voice was strong as she dedicated the show to her late mother. But the losses she would face didn't end there. Tragedy within her family. Celine Dion has endured many losses, beginning with her beloved family members. Among her 13 siblings, Celine was especially close to her older sister Liette's daughter, Karine. Born in 1977, Karine was diagnosed with cystic fibrosis, a painful condition that affects the lungs and other organs. Celine held Karine close throughout her young life, singing softly in her ear as she slipped away at just 16. Recalling that heartbreaking moment she shared, one tear came down Karine's cheek, and then she went. Celine later dedicated the song Vol to her niece, capturing the grief and love that Karine left behind. This experience deeply moved her to support Cystic Fibrosis Canada, an organization she remains close to in memory of her niece. Years later, tragedy struck again in 2016, a particularly hard year for Celine. In January, her older brother Daniel lost his fight with cancer. He passed at age 59, just 2 days after Celine's husband René died from the same disease. It was an overwhelming time for her, as she had to bear the pain of losing 2 loved ones so close together. But the heartbreak didn't end there. Later that summer, Celine's sister Liette faced her own devastating loss, when her husband Guy succumbed to a relentless cancer that affected his bones, brain, and lungs. 2016 was a year Celine would never forget, filled with constant reminders of the fragility of life and the impact of love and loss. Staying true to herself in fame and fashion, Celine Dion has never been afraid to be herself, even when it means facing criticism. A song that's iconic in her career, It's All Coming Back to Me Now, has a story all its own. Written by Jim Steinman in the 1980s, the song was originally meant for the singer Meatloaf. However, Steinman felt the song needed a female vocalist's touch and eventually gave it to Celine, whose version became a massive hit in 1996. Though Meatloaf was disappointed, he finally recorded it in 2006, but his rendition didn't achieve the same success. This story is just one example of how Dion has made songs entirely her own. Beyond her music, Dion's fashion choices have caught attention worldwide. In recent years, her style has become bolder and more daring, showcasing her playful and confident side. Dubbed the Celine Dionaissance by The Cut, her new look includes everything from edgy dresses with thigh-high slits to casual Daisy Dukes. During Paris Fashion Week in 2019, her friend and stylist, Pepe Munoz, even had to adjust her gown to avoid a wardrobe mishap, further highlighting their close friendship. Despite her eye-catching choices, some fans voiced concerns over her weight. Dion responded directly, saying, "I'm doing this for me. I want to feel strong, beautiful, feminine, and sexy." For those with opinions about her body, she had a simple message: "If you don't like it, leave me alone." While there were rumors of a romance between Dion and Munoz, she clarified they were just close friends. "He's a gentleman. He's giving me his hand to go out," she explained, adding that their bond was purely platonic. Yet Dion found humor in the gossip, noting that she didn't mind the rumors. "I don't mind because he's handsome and he's my best friend." This mix of confidence and humor also led to her collaboration with Ryan Reynolds for Deadpool 2. When Reynolds invited her to sing Ashes for the film, she was all in. The video, which was filmed on her Las Vegas stage, features a comical dance between Dion and Deadpool himself. Reynolds described the experience as one of his favorite days on set, saying, "The oxygen was set to like 150%, so we were just laughing the whole time." Now what about her personal life? The love story that defined her life. The love story between Celine and René Angéli is one of her life's most defining aspects, beginning when she was just 12 years old. Celine's brother found René's name on the back of an album and sent him her demo tape. Moved by her voice, René took her under his wing, dedicating himself to making her a star. Their relationship, however, was far from ordinary. René was 26 years her senior, and while he was focused on her career initially, Celine started to see him differently as she grew older. By 19, she had developed deep feelings for him, though her mother wasn't thrilled with the idea. She feared the age difference, Renee's past marriages and his children would complicate her daughter's life. "She tried everything to make me snap out of it," Celine admitted. Yet the love between Celine and Renee grew stronger, eventually winning her mother's approval. They married in 1994, creating a union that would see them through joy and sorrow. Despite their age gap, they built a strong family, welcoming 3 sons together, Renee, Charles, and twins Nelson and Eddie. The strength of their love shone through during Renee's health battles. Diagnosed with throat cancer in 1999, he went through treatments that saw Celine pause her career to be by his side. He recovered, but the disease returned twice more, with the last recurrence ultimately claiming his life in January 2016. In his final days, he wished to die in Celine's arms, but she wasn't able to be there the night he passed. Even so, she later comforted herself, saying, "When he stopped suffering, I said to myself, he's okay, he deserves not to suffer." Losing Renee was one of the hardest moments of her life, yet she found a way to carry on, supported by the love they shared and the memories they created. Speaking of which, Renee's death changed Celine in many ways, particularly in how she approached her own health. For years, she struggled with an undiagnosed condition. Celine pushed herself to keep performing, wanting to stay strong for her fans and her family, but his death forced her to rethink her priorities. She realized that her sons had already lost one parent, and she didn't want them to live in fear of losing another. "I let them know, you lost your dad, Mom has a condition, but I'm not going to die," she shared, determined to reassure them. What condition was that? Celine Dion's health battle, the first signs of trouble. In 2008, while performing on her Taking Chances World Tour in Germany, Celine Dion noticed something was wrong. What began as an ordinary day quickly changed as she started feeling out of control. She recalls her voice suddenly shifting to an unusually high pitch, followed by a sense of slipping away. "I felt like I could not control it," she shared. "I was skidding." Preparing for her next show, she found herself cutting her sound check short, realizing her vocal cords felt squeezed and unmanageable. She decided to sing only 2 songs instead of her usual 45-minute set, hoping it was just a temporary issue. Unfortunately, things didn't get better. As time passed, Dion's symptoms worsened, and she started experiencing painful muscle spasms that affected her balance and movement. It was as if her own body was betraying her, leaving her stuck in uncomfortable positions that she couldn't unlock. Everyday tasks became a challenge. Cooking, something she loved, became difficult as her fingers and hands would cramp up. The condition was relentless. At its worst, it felt like someone was strangling her. And she even mentioned that severe episodes could potentially break her ribs. Yet Celine kept pushing forward, determined to keep performing despite not knowing what was causing her body to act this way. Searching for answers and facing new challenges. By 2019, Celine's struggles continued. To manage the constant muscle spasms, she turned to high doses of Valium, often taking up to 90 milligrams daily just to perform. "I didn't know it could kill me," she admitted, shocked by how risky it had become. She would take the medication before a performance, but by the time she reached the stage, it had already worn off, leaving her in pain and unsteady. At the height of her dependency, she knew she had to stop. So with the help of doctors, she began the difficult process of weaning herself off during the pandemic. In 2020, for the first time in years, Dion was able to prioritize her health. Until that point, she had been caring for her husband, Renee, who had passed away in 2016, while raising her children and still performing. But during the pandemic, she finally had the chance to seek answers. After countless tests, she received a diagnosis in 2022, stiff person syndrome, a rare neurological condition affecting her muscles. Oddly enough, the diagnosis brought her a sense of relief. "It probably sounds strange, but when I was diagnosed, I was happy," she shared, explaining that it felt like she could finally stop fighting an invisible enemy. Now, she could focus on moving forward with the right support and treatments. As her symptoms persisted, Celine postponed her much-anticipated Las Vegas residency in 2021. A press release explained that severe and persistent muscle spasms were preventing her from performing, forcing her to delay the opening of her new show. Despite her best efforts, her symptoms continued to interfere with her career. In early 2022, she had to cancel the North American leg of her world tour, a decision that disappointed her, but she knew it was necessary for her health. Just a few months later, she postponed her European tour again, expressing her regret to fans in a heartfelt Instagram video. Yet, despite everything, she held on to hope, sharing that she was doing a little better and determined to keep improving. Going public with her diagnosis and choosing a new path. In December 2022, Dion decided to open up about her battle with stiff person syndrome, sharing the news with her fans through a video on Instagram. She explained how difficult it had been to keep her struggles hidden, saying, "I didn't want to live in this bunker anymore. The burden was so heavy." Her honesty resonated with fans worldwide, who now understood the full extent of what she had been dealing with. Sadly, with her health still unpredictable, Dion canceled her 2023 world tour. She expressed her heartbreak, acknowledging that touring is demanding even when you're healthy. "It's not fair to keep postponing the shows," she said, but assured her fans, "I'm not giving up. I can't wait to see you again." By 2024, Dion was deeply invested in her treatment. In an interview with Vogue France, she shared that her therapy regimen was intense, involving sessions 5 days a week. She trained like an athlete, working on her toes, knees, calves, hands, and of course, her voice. "I've chosen to work with all my body and soul," she said, explaining that her goal was to be as strong as possible. Her dedication to improving was a testament to her resilience, as she remained hopeful about returning to the stage. Her ultimate goal? To stand before the Eiffel Tower, singing her heart out once again. In June 2024, Celine gave her first interview since going public with her diagnosis, sharing more about her journey and determination to live life to the fullest despite her challenges. That month, a documentary detailing her struggle aired, giving fans an intimate look at her life with stiff person syndrome. Then in July, she surprised everyone by performing for the first time since 2020 at the Paris Olympics opening ceremony. Standing before the Eiffel Tower, she delivered an emotional rendition of L'Hymne à l'amour, a song that honored her struggles and symbolized her enduring love for life and music. Inside Celine Dion's life with stiff person syndrome. The new documentary I Am. Celine Dion offers an up-close look at Celine Dion's journey since her stiff person syndrome diagnosis. The film captures painful moments, including a severe muscle seizure during a therapy session. Director Irene Taylor shared that it was Celine's decision to keep that intense footage, hoping it would help others understand her condition. "I think this film can help others understand what it's like to be in my body," Dion told Taylor. She wanted viewers to truly see her experience, even insisting, "Don't shorten that scene." Stiff person syndrome, SPS, is an extremely rare autoimmune neurological disorder. It affects the muscles, making them rigid and tense. In most cases, the condition progresses and causes stiffness in the neck, back, and limbs, making everyday activities challenging. For some, SPS affects the brainstem or cerebellum, which controls movement and balance, leading to even more severe symptoms like double vision, speech issues, and frequent falls. Though often labeled a one-in-a-million condition, experts believe it may be somewhat more common, though still very rare. Speaking of which, currently there is no cure for SPS. Early diagnosis, however, can help manage symptoms and limit progression. Treatments include immune-based therapies to prevent the body from attacking its own nervous system. Other therapies focus on daily symptom management like muscle relaxers, anxiety meds, and physical therapies, from aquatherapy and heat treatments to stretching and balance training. Throughout her struggle, she continued to feel René's presence, as she believed he was with her in spirit, guiding her to make the best choices for herself and their family. She even kept his photos around the house so her children could feel close to their father. "They kissed the pictures," she shared, finding comfort in how much he remained a part of their daily lives. Though Celine doesn't see herself moving on romantically, she knows that life has a way of bringing the unexpected. "I'm not thinking about a relationship and falling in love again," she said, acknowledging that while she's content with her family, she is open to whatever the future may hold. Celine's life, filled with love, loss, and resilience, shows a woman who has faced countless trials but continues to find strength in her family and the memory of the love she shared with Renee. Her journey remains a testament to the power of resilience, carrying on not just for herself, but for the legacy of those she loved and lost. Through all of this, Celine Dion remains a figure of strength, having faced more than most people can imagine. Her voice, which has brought so much joy to others, continues to be a source of strength and healing for herself. Her story is one of courage, heartbreak, and above all, the unbreakable power of the human spirit. What do you think about her story? And what inspires Celine to keep going, even when faced with such difficult challenges? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more fascinating stories.